Hey, welcome back for part 2 of this mandala. I realized on my first one that my mandala or my video was a little bit warped. It looked a little bit lopsided, I think, just from the angle of the camera. So hopefully this one's a little bit better. So what I've done is I've grabbed all my colors that are basically lighter versions of this. So I've got a lighter blue, lighter purple, a lighter pink, lighter yellow, and then I've got my white again. So what we're going to do now that our painting is fully dry, all of our base colors, is we're going to start again in our middle and we're working our way to the outside. This just helps to make sure that your painting isn't going to get messed up by painting anywhere out here, and then your hand or your wrist messes up those dots. So it's easier now for us to just go start in the middle and work our way out again. So the first thing I'm going to do is put my center dot of my lighter purple. So for this I'm going to use my pencil crayon again, but I am not going to be pressing down all the way, and I'm going to be monitoring from the side to make sure that I'm only pushing down enough that it's going to put that paint on there and not cover up the base of my purple. You can use a smaller tool if you're not comfortable or don't feel confident enough yet to be able to do that. Just use a smaller tool for that. So next we're going to grab our white, because we're going to do a little bit of detail work in here. We want to fill in some of those really tiny spaces around that center dot. So I've got my white, and I'm going to get my toothpick here. And we're just going to go in where that first ring is between your base, your larger base dot, and all of these tiny dots. We're just going to go in and place a white dot in that blank space that's there. Just like that. And we're going to do the same thing in the next row here where I have that light aqua color. Now this one, you'll see that your space is a bit wider, so you're doing this closer to that first ring of dots, because we're actually going to do a second dot near the top of this one. Okay, so now as you can see, there's still more space here. That's now closer to my purple one. So we're going to just add a second dot in. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing. We're just going to do one dot in this next row, but I'm upping my tool size just slightly, very minimal, basically the next size from what my toothpick would be, just because this space is a little bit bigger and I just want to have one dot in there. Okay, so now before we go further with the white dots, I want to get that this purple or whichever color you have, the lighter version of that right on top. So I'm just taking the same tool that I just used, and I'm adding my lighter version of that color. I'm also going to now get the lighter version of that aqua, whatever color it is that you have there for those bigger dots, and we're gonna add in the adding the dots for those ones as well. Now the reason I'm pushing down, you might be able to notice in the video a little bit harder on this one, is because these dots, this underlayer of dots, had some points on them, and so if I don't push down a little bit more, then my top layer of dots is not going to be evenly even. So I've pushed down a little bit harder on that one. So now we're going to go back to our toothpick and our white, and we are going to add dots in the top and bottom spaces here between these dots. Hopefully you can't hear the construction outside too much in the video. Sorry if that's a nuisance, if you can hear behind. There. So we'll probably come back after this second layer is dry and add some a third layer of white dots on some of the layers, but we're going to let that one dry first. Okay, so now we're going to take our next color and do the lighter version of that one. So for me, that's the pink. So you can go all the way around with the pink. Okay, so you can see I've gone around with my pink. And now we're going to go back and do our purple that's there, or whichever color you have there. I'm going to be doing the purple and the blue. This is adding the second layer is really what's going to give your mandala that dimension, both visually and physically. coming in here with the blue. Okay, so now I have some space in here, so you can see these kind of black triangle spaces that I want to fill in as well. So I'm just going to take one of my colors. I think I'm going to take the pink, the light pink, and just take one of my tools that I think will best fit in those spaces with the dots and go all the way around. You can choose whichever color you like. I'm choosing the light pink because I know I'm going to put the dark pink or the light pink on these berry colors, and so I think that it will just draw them both together, but you can pick whichever color you like. And if you don't have that space in there, then just leave those dots out. There. Okay, so now we are going to do the yellow here. Just a little bit of a lighter version of what's on there already. So this is more of like a butter yellow. And I'm going to take my thumbtack tool here. And I'm going to go all the way around like that. Okay, so I've done that. Now I want to work on these petals a little bit. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to do the really small ones. I just want to fill in a little petal on the two colors of the bigger one. So I'll start with the blue. So I'm just taking a dotting tool that was smaller than before. Make sure I have a good amount of paint on there. And then I'm just going to take my toothpick and do what we did last time. So I think I just had that out of the screen while I was talking about it, so I'll do it again here. Sometimes when you get into the painting, you forget to look at the camera and make sure it's all into view. Okay, so here I'll show you again. Here, let's see if I can zoom in a little bit even. Okay. So I'm just adding those dots, making sure that your underlaying color is still showing through. This is basically just bringing out that color and making it look like it's almost got a reflection in that 3D look. So we'll do that all the way around with the blue. Okay, so I've done that with the blue here, so you can see. And now we're going to also do that with the center color. So for me, that's the berry color, and I'm going to do that with the pink. Okay, so that's all done. And so I want to add a little bit more purple to this center mandala. So I'm going to take that light purple that I had, and I'm just using my tool that I used for these dots around here, around my bigger one. And I just want to add some purple descending dots around there, just to bring out the balance of the mandala as well, a little bit more to where the petals are. Again, probably out of range there with the camera, so here we go. Just going around. Especially with a larger piece like this, it's a little bit more challenging to get it all in the camera with a close-up view so that you guys can actually really see what's happening here. The stones, or smaller pieces, it's a little bit easier to get everything in the camera range and have a close-up for you. There. So that just balances out the center point here just a little bit more. Okay, so we're going to just leave the center here now and move on to the next ring here. So for that, it would be here. So I just want to add a little bit of white in here just to bring out some of this color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my toothpick and my white, and I just want to go in between some of these spaces here. So I'm going to go, these ones are pretty small, so I'm going to leave those, but I'm going to just go in the spaces here that have a little bit more of that black in between them. Okay, so I've done that, and I'm going to do the same thing again with my next layer, or my next set of rings. This just helps everything pop against the black. So just go all the way around. Okay, so that part's done. I want to add another layer of white ones, but I want it to be a little bit bigger, so I'm going to up my tool size just a little bit. And this is going to go around this edge here, but I want it so that the white pops a little bit more. So I'm going to go back to this tool that I used here for my purples, which is about 2 sizes up from my toothpick. And I'm just going to go in the valleys of all of these here. all the way around. Okay, so there you have it for that. So our next step is going to be filling in these bigger spaces or dots. So I'm going to go back to my pink here. And I'm going to get my toothpick, or sorry, not my toothpick, my thumbtack tool. And again, I'm going to be going kind of down to the side so that I can see just how far to press, where I can still see my base color. Just like that, and all the way around. Okay, so all of my pink dots are done, and now we're going to move on back to the yellow here and put yellow in those dots that are in between. This is the lighter yellow right on top of the dark. Okay, yellows are all done. So I want to fill in a little bit of space here, kind of underneath that yellow bit, and I want to bring in the purple again, that light purple that we used at the end of, or the outside of our center mandala. So I'm just going to take a tool that I feel like will best fit 2 dots in there, and take my purple. And just fill in that little space there. So I don't want to go lower than what these pink dots are with the white. I want to kind of keep a ring of black in between there. So just find a tool that will give you that right size dot. Okay, so I've done that, and now I want to fill, if you have space in between your little dots here and you want to fill them in, I'm just taking the same color, a much smaller tool, and going around just to fill in that little space. You could choose to do a different color as well, but I'm going to stick with the purple. Right. So you can really see it's starting to fill in a lot more, which is awesome. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to fill in those petals again with the blue, and I think I'll do white on the light turquoise, just because I don't have a lighter turquoise. That's the lightest one that I have, and then the light purple, and then I'm going to do this color here on the main ones. So we'll start with the blue, just because again we don't want to mess up our painting with our hands, so it's easier to work our way outward. So we're just going to take our blue, just as we did with these ones inside here, just a smaller dot, and then using our toothpick, making sure that we can still see that underlaying color. And you're going to do that all the way around. Okay, so I've gone around with all my blue, and now I'm going to do the same thing with the turquoise, but I'm going to, the light turquoise, but I'm going to use white for these ones. And I'm going to go around with the white all the way around. Okay, the white is done, so now we're going to move on to the next color. For me, that is the purple. And again, just using the same tool that I've been using for the other ones to create that smaller dot, and then just use my toothpick and bring those in. Okay, so there's the purple. Those all done. And now we are going to take the light version of whichever color you have for your biggest petal there. For me, it's the aqua. And I'm going to just do the exact same thing, a smaller dot than what was originally on there. And just pull it down. Just like so. And we're going to do that all the way around as well. Okay, so all of the light turquoise here is all done. So I realize when I'm going around that I would like to have a little bit more yellow in this painting. So I'm going to take my original yellow and a tool that is going to fit in this space right here, which is just above that, another original yellow dot. And I'm just going to put dots in between here. Fills in this space a little bit and just brightens it up a little bit more. So if you have the space, go for it. If you don't, that's okay. Okay, so what we're going to do now is we are going to leave this and let it really dry, and then we're going to come back and do a third layer of a little bit more detail, and then we will be all finished. So let this dry, pause, come back another time or a little bit later once your painting is fully dry, and we'll complete it. I've decided that it needs to have one more layer or round of dots before we let that dry and complete it. So if you've already paused it and you've come back, no worries, you can do this one after, and you can just either use a hair dryer or let it dry and then come back. So I'm going to use my blue with my thumbtack, and I'm just going to add another big dot in here just to fill in this space a little bit more. Okay, now we can pause. Okay, so I've let this completely dry. And now we're going to do the final touches, and then we'll be complete for this one. So we're going to start off in the center again. So I know that I'm going to put one more dot in the middle here. So I'm using white, and I'm using a tool that's just a bit smaller because I still want to be able to see the first and second colors. Okay, and then I'm going to take the white again, but with a smaller tool. White tends to, when you top off your dot, especially if you have multiple colors, it just kind of highlights the dot a little bit. It doesn't even have to be a big one. It's just a little dot that just highlights highlights with the white. So I'm going to go on these ones here, just adding a little dot of white. There. Now I have a brighter pink that I'm also going to bring in onto my pink dots. Instead of putting white, I'm just going to highlight with this really hot pink color. You can use white if you don't have a lighter pink. There. Okay, and now I'm going to go back to the white and put white on those purple ones. This is a little bit of a bigger dot. I'm also going to put them on the blue dots as well. As you can see, once you put that white on there, those dots like really pop. And we're going to do white on the yellow dots here as well. So I'm going to try this out here. These one might be a little bit, this tool might be a bit too big. Nope. So this one I'm barely even going down, and just allowing the paint to just touch the surface and then pulling away. You can certainly again use a smaller tool if you're not comfortable with that technique quite yet. Okay, so that's pretty much it for this inner circle here. You are more than welcome to add more dots if you like. Actually, I might, because I like the white so much on the turquoise on the outside here, I think I might add the white to the ones on the inside here too. Okay, so now that the center is done, what I'm going to do is add a little bit more in here. So we're going to change it up a little bit. So in all of the dots that we've been doing so far, we've gone darkest to lightest in the same shade of color. This time I'm going to change it up a little bit because I want to add some pink and yellow into this ring. So I'm just going to take the dotting tool that works best for creating a slightly smaller dot than what I've got. And I'm going to add yellow into this ring here. I think I'm going to go up a size here with my tool. That's better. So I'm going to go all the way around with that yellow. Okay, so the yellow's done. You can see how it just makes it really pop there. So now I'm going to take my pink, this pink here, my medium pink that I'm using, and I'm going to do the same thing on the next row here. Okay, so the pink is all done there. And now we're going to move on to this next row here. So on these purples, I'm adding some more turquoise, the light turquoise. Now these are just guidelines, so if there's anything that you don't like or don't want to add, you most certainly don't have to. It's just basically a guideline to show you how to create a little bit more of a intricate mandala, and then you can make it your own, whether that's by color, design, adding new things or taking other things out. Okay, so then the next one we're going to do is we're going to go back to the white and put white dots on all of these yellow ones. I'm going to take this bright pink again, and I'm going to add that onto my other pink dots here. Okay, so that's done, and now we're going to do white on the other set of yellow. There. Okay, so now I'm going back to my thumbtack and my light blue, and I'm going to put my blue on, or my second blue on top of my dark blue. Okay, so we are almost done. We have one last little bit of detail. So we're going to take our white, and you can either take your toothpick or your next size up. I'm going to take the next size up. And what we're going to do is we just want to add some descending dots around these larger ones. Now, I've shown this in a couple of my other videos, but if those tiny dots at the end aren't working out for you with your larger tool, just go in there with your toothpick and bring them all down. So I'm going to do that all the way around. Okay, so I have gone all the way around and did all the white. You can leave it like this if you want and be done. I think I'm going to add, just because I want my pink to really stand out, I'm just adding my finishing white dots on these ones and on the bigger ones. Okay, so there you have it. Complete works. I hope you enjoyed doing this mandala and a little bit more intricate work, and stepping up the level of your mandalas and your dot work. And I look forward to doing the next video for you.